What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and happy Thursday, people. Yeah, I don't know what day it is at the moment, man. Happy Thursday, people. Hope you are well. A much calmer show today than the last few shows that, for obvious reasons, have been a little bit more, what should we say, frustrating than normal with the results that we've had this week. People drawing with Brighton and also losing to Newcastle. It's been a hell of a week for Arsenal fans, man. And January transfer window's open. We're seeing no business at Arsenal so far. Nobody signed. Nobody sold. But, you know, we're here to concentrate on players coming in. And we did say if we were going to sign players in this window that we needed to do it early, people, because of the games that we've got coming up. We're already tripping over ourselves. People, OGs was cancelled yesterday. Emergency OGs. Turkish had a family emergency and had to cancel the show. It is what it is. Family comes first, of course. So we will get a show done. We're back on Monday anyway. So yeah, unfortunately we didn't get that show done. But yeah, it is what it is, people. And shout out Turkish. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot of transfer news. More linking with players leaving, really, than players coming in. And Arsenal doing what Arsenal do best. When they know we're getting angry about the January window, they start pointing us towards the summer. Oh, calm down, people. We're going to go big in the summer. The summer doesn't fix January, does it? You know what I mean? We need things to be better now. No, nothing serious for Turkish. It was just something he had to do urgently. So, yeah, everything's good as far as I'm aware. Big up, Nay, in the chat. Hope you're well, Nay. We catch up soon, bro. Jamrock said, bless up, Curtis. We're suffering out here. The gunners are snot gunning. No, exactly. Lawrence said, Curtis, I'm back from Australia. Was getting up at 5 a.m. to watch our games. To get our arse wet, being a broad fan. Oh, bro, when I go on the tour to America and that, and you're like, raw, or even when I've been on holiday, you're like, yo, people are getting up at like 5 a.m. You know, if you're on the West Coast and Arsenal kick off at like 12 midday kickoff, you're getting up at like 5 a.m. to watch Arsenal play. And then sometimes look at the performances. I don't know how you guys do it. I salute anybody outside of England that has to get up at crazy times to watch Arsenal play. Sometimes I'm falling asleep watching Arsenal play. Genuinely fighting to stay awake. 100% pray for people in LA, man. Spent a lot of the time out there in the summer. Had a great time out there. Amazing city. And the fires that are going on out there are unbelievable, man. So everyone out there, stay safe, man. It looks wild out there at the moment, man. Big up Runyan, who said, when I lived in Australia, I used to get up at 3 a.m. Genuinely, I'll be real with you, people. If it was me, I would probably record the game, wake up as normal in the morning, and watch the game and not check my phone. I wouldn't be getting up at 3 a.m. to watch Arsenal. Not when they're playing football like this. You want to mash up my sleep and draw 0-0 with Everton? Nah, do me a favour, people. Lose 2-0 to Newcastle. Not me, bruv. I'll be recording that and getting up in the morning, you know. But listen, big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're well. Big up the whole C unit. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're flying at the moment. We're getting great numbers, over 100,000 on the watch along the other day. I mean, you don't want to get views for those circumstances. We know the game. You lose a big game, the ops will turn up and troll. You know, you want to be winning big games. Big up everyone locked in though, man. The club have to fix it. For me, the club should have been having an emergency meeting the day after Newcastle. To be honest, we should have made a signing on the 1st of January. But you lose to Newcastle at home in the first leg. There should be an emergency meeting. Arsenal should be close to signing somebody today. Instead, we're sitting here going, well, you know, what are we going to do against Man United? Who are we going to play? We could pick those players out of a hat and it isn't going to make any difference. Jesus, Sterling, Havertz, Martinelli, Trossard. At the moment, it's all the same. It makes no difference. Play Martinelli on the left and right, no difference. Play Havertz up front in the 10, no difference. Jesus up front, nothing changes. It's all the same, people. I'm sorry. They're all the same sort of thing at the moment. So It's frustrating. Big up Matt the Southern Gooner. They're talking about transfers in the summer, but won't address the last summer window. Make it make sense. This is the crazy thing. They're telling us in January, summertime, war chest, Isak, 100 million. But did we not just see what happened the last summer? I didn't see us blow up the market in the last summer. We signed 3 squad players who didn't even start in a cup final. Big up Geordie Toon for life. Away, Curtis, we are not that bad of a side. Listen, I'll be real with you, bro. I applaud Newcastle the other night. Honestly, no hate from me, bro. I'm more angry with my own team. They done a job on us. You know, turned up with Dan Burn at centre-back and kept a clean sheet. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. You know, I blame the football. Like Arteta said, that ball didn't roll properly. You know, something about it wasn't right. Although it worked all right when Isak put it crossbarring in and when Anthony Gordon scored. Oh, yeah, and the 11 goals we scored in the other 3 rounds. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe it wasn't the ball, eh? Anyway, let's talk about last night's game briefly. I was planning on doing a watch-along for this game because I'm thinking, this is who will be playing in the final. Then Newcastle stuff us at the Emirates, and I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with this game. Don't want nothing to do with it. Tottenham beat Liverpool, and do you know what, people? This result made me even more angry and annoyed and frustrated than I was before watching this game. Because I'll be real, I thought, yeah, business as usual. Liverpool will beat them. And Tottenham beat them. And I'm like, Tottenham have got a goalkeeper that they signed 3 days ago, who's 21 years of age, never played in the Prem. Both their centre-backs and their left-back are injured. Their centre-mid comes off the pitch with a serious injury. And they beat Liverpool and keep a clean sheet. Now, there was an element of luck. Bergvall probably could have been sent off. I don't think the first one was a yellow card. But the second one was. But they've just beaten Liverpool at home and kept a clean sheet. With a guy making his debut and their second choice centre-backs. We got rolled over by Newcastle at home. Didn't even get a goal. Even 2-1. I was thinking about it yesterday, you know. Even 2-1 against Newcastle would have given me a little tiny bit of optimism. Because I'm thinking about it. It's like playing that second leg and you go 1-0 down early on in the game. If Arsenal went 1-0 down, you wouldn't say game over. You'd say, this is difficult, but we're effectively, if we'd have lost 2-1, you'd have said, we're 1-0 down with 90 minutes to play. You can overturn that. But we're 2-0 down. Going to Newcastle. Do we think we're going to keep a clean sheet at Newcastle? That's my first question. Are we keeping a clean sheet at Newcastle? I don't think we are. I think we're conceding, right? Can you imagine the atmosphere at St. James's midweek, under the lights, haven't won a trophy for over 50 years? Isak, Anthony Gordon hitting the TT at the corner flag, hitting the Henry celebration in our backyard. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet. So effectively, we might have to score 3 goals there. That's just to go to extra time. At the moment, we can hardly get 3 shots on target, let alone score 3 times. This club have to try and do something because the second leg is after the transfer window closes. So effectively, we could sign somebody who plays in that second leg and we look different. Ben White comes back from injury. You go and sign someone. It can change the dynamic, but unfortunately, I doubt anything major will happen. Jason, I agree with you with this, bro. Said it before and I've said it again. People don't like this. And it isn't all the fans' fault. I think a lot of this is the club's fault. The atmosphere inside the Emirates Stadium is mid. It's average. Let's be real, people. The Emirates is not an intimidating stadium to play in for the away fans. It's quite a welcoming stadium. The fans get going at times, big games. One of the biggest problems is that the club have put all this ballot system into place with members. You could have had your ticket for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. You know everyone that sits around you. You've got a good atmosphere in that section of the ground. Now, I could go and get a membership today, apply for a game and get your ticket that you've had for 5 years, 6, 7 years. So all of a sudden, you've got 100 people sitting around each other who don't know each other, don't go to games very often, so they sit there quiet. The Emirates is not an intimidating atmosphere. The Highbury Stadium used to be intimidating. Remember when you used to hear that woman scream behind the goal when anyone scored at the North Bank? Do you know what I mean? That the Highbury had intimidate. You could lean and touch the players almost. But, hey, it is what it is. Tottenham 1-0 up against Liverpool. Before we really delve into Arsenal, big up everyone locked in. We're at nearly 2,000 people in here already. Even the position of the away fans is inviting. Yeah, 100%. I said this a long time ago. And people might think this doesn't affect anything, right? Away fans in the Emirates, just at the side of the goal that they shoot against in the second half most of the time, at the clock end. So when somebody scores against us in the second half, they run straight over to their fans. That whole corner is their fans. That corner looks like they're running the stadium. When you go to Newcastle, we're up there, mate. You need binoculars. If you score, you ain't running to your fans. You're nowhere near them. Away fans should be in the top corner of the stadium. I don't want to see the away team doing knee slides right in front of their fans celebrating. Put them up in the sky, in the corner, far away. And keep all the Arsenal fans at the lower section. These little details, man, I'm telling you, they have an effect. Why do you think Barcelona, they put you in the sky? Newcastle, they put you in the sky. The Bernabeu, you're in that top corner, little section. You come to the Emirates, second half, shooting at the clock end, yo, it feels like you're at home. All your fans are there. And trust me, you got to be smart, people. Got to be smart, I'm telling you. Even Man United, they put you in that top right-hand corner. You can't celebrate on the lower tier with your fans. But anyway, what do I know, people? What do I know? I'm not paid what they're paid to, direct these things, right? Maybe they want you to have a lovely match day experience when you come to the Emirates. They don't want it to be too intimidating. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what they want. Big up everyone in the chat. I want to talk about this, and this doesn't directly affect Arsenal, but this, if you watch this channel on a regular basis, you know that this is bothering me, this story, what I'm about to put on the screen. This is bothering me. Let's talk about this. Fabrizio's tweeted. Kavicha, whatever you call him. Kvaratskhelia. Left winger, Napoli. For me, he would be in my top 3 left wingers that I would bring to the club that is realistic for us to get. He would be in the top 3 for me, especially with the way he plays football. I think he would be ideally suited to Mikel Arteta's style of football compared to some of the other wingers. 23 years of age, 11 goals last season, 12 the year before. I can't believe that this is happening. I really can't believe it. Fabrizio has tweeted it. Kvaratskhelia has definitely opened the doors to a January exit. PSG are on it. Paris Saint-Germain are favourites, in direct contact with Napoli, as revealed today. Package around 80 million euros, discussed while Kvara's camp in talks with PSG over personal terms, progressing well. People, you know I'm not happy with this. You know I'm not happy with this one. Like, we're a funny team, Arsenal, honestly. We are a very funny team. We're desperate for a left winger. An absolute top quality left winger's available in January, and we're not going to go anywhere near him. We're going to go absolutely nowhere near him. I mean, I'm not being funny, no disrespect. We're a bigger club than PSG. The French league isn't as good as the Premier League. We pay massive wages. And we're just going to sit back and allow this to happen and go nowhere near it. And what we'll do is we'll say, we wanted Nico Williams. We'll go for him in the summer. Now, I've just looked into the details of this. Apparently, Napoli wants... It's actually apparently not even 80 million euros. They want 67 million pounds for him. £2 million more than we paid for Kai Havertz. 23 years of age, technically brilliant, fantastic dribbler, can pass, can shoot. And we're going, no, we'll leave it. We'll leave it, fam. We'll try and get Nico Williams in the summer until he goes to Barcelona. Well, that's what we'll do. We'll go for Nico Williams. Do you know how much he's on a week? 32 grand a week. 32 grand. He's on his first contract at Napoli. They signed him from Dynamo Batumi in the Georgian league, I believe. 32 grand a week. You give him 100 grand a week, he's getting more than treble his wages. PSG, let's be real. We cooked them earlier in the season. Why are we not trying to sign him? Somebody explain to me. We need a left winger. We need a striker. Look at the market. I don't get it. I do not get it. This guy in January would be a great signing for Arsenal. 67 million. Even if you just get him, in the summer you get the striker, because we know the Kroenkes won't buy the striker and the winger. And we're sitting it at PSG. He ain't going to PSG with Messi and Neymar. You're going to a washed-up PSG that are struggling to qualify. You know, with Barcola's decent. I do not get it. Apparently, Man United are trying to offer Rashford in a swap deal. At least they're trying. Hijack the deal. Surely he goes to Arsenal over PSG, the Premier League, the wages. Just baffles me. Yeah, they were linked with Kivior, remember? Apparently, PSG are willing to give them Skriniar as part of the deal. So, he's obviously a very good defender. And then they'll make the rest up in cash. Yeah, 55 million euros and Skriniar. Give them what? They want 67 million. Give them 50 million pounds and Kivior. 55 million and Kivior, whatever. This one's painful because I rate this guy highly. And I still genuinely believe, and I could be wrong. I think Nico Williams completely wants Barcelona. I think him saying, I'm open to a Premier League move now and things like that. I think Nico Williams wants Barcelona, and I think Nico Williams will end up at Barcelona. I think Barca won't miss an opportunity to have Spain's right and left winger at a young age growing up together in that team. Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal. But yeah, wow. What do you guys think? If it makes sense, Arsenal won't do it. We said that a long time ago, people. They say it's a difficult January window to get players. And it can be. But there are so many good players available in this window. It is unbelievable how many players in positions that I think we could do with. I mean, Forest, my hometown club, 25 years in the Championship. Forest are trying to sign Douglas Luiz. Now, we're not desperate for a centre midfielder. I get it. But when you think Jorginho and Partey are out of contract in the summer, Douglas Luiz, a player that we've tried to buy for a few windows, had multiple offers turned down, you can get him on loan with an obligation, £45 million. Maybe you can negotiate that price down, get him for 35 million. 26 years of age, Brazilian international, wants to come back to the Prem. Forest are in for Douglas Luiz. Edu, that'll be Edu at Forest probably. Negotiating that or pushing that deal. Why aren't we going for it? Jorginho, you saw him the other day. He couldn't move. Looked like he was treading water. Partey, I mean, who knows with him what his future, what happens with him. Why would you not take Douglas Luiz on loan? It's a no-brainer for Arsenal. It's a good player. We would have paid big money for him a year ago. We can get him on loan now. I'd take him. Imagine getting Kvara for 67 million, getting Douglas Luiz on loan. Even if you don't get the striker. Now, I want the striker as well, but I'm saying, you bring those two in, look at the difference that makes to our team and our squad. But what do I know, people? What do I know? Wait until the summer. Wait until the summer. That's what they're telling us, people. Wait until the summer. Let me read out these super chats. Christian, Arteta needs to go. He's getting too much power and it will get to his head. I think it already might have done, Christian. Thomas said, Arsenal could post 164 million loss this season. Well, handle your business properly, you know. Don't celebrate when you're throwing players out of the door for nothing. Sell them for reasonable transfer fees and you'll be all right. And then don't overpay players that aren't worth it, you know, like Havertz and players like that. Red Dust, don't expect any movement regarding transfers. Everyone at the club will be focused on Sunday. I can finally see the team playing fluid, attacking football this weekend because they know what's coming. If we don't, I think it's going to be a very tough game on Sunday. Man United are going to pack that midfield, 5 at the back, 3 at the back, whatever you call it, and I think they'll try and spoil the game. I don't actually think Sunday's game will be that entertaining. I think it will be could be a scrappy one, in my opinion. Doctor said, forget signing any world-class players. They're not coming to play for Arteta and ruin their career. And frankly, Tapas Pulis ought to not get a penny more. Big up to you, bro. Aaron said, all this player watching is pointless, Big C. We won't get Nico or Kavicha. Zero ambition. I gave Arteta time, but this season it's clear. Dark times ahead. Terrorist football, bro. Oh, man. Gonna roller, but they told us the January window is difficult and you can't sign someone from a team in a title race. The excuses are running out. You can get Kvara in January. You can get Victor Osimhen release clause. You can get Gyökeres release clause. You can get Douglas Luiz on loan. You can get Leroy Sané 6 months left on his deal. You can get Kingsley Coman on loan. I'm not saying I would want all of these players, by the way. I'm just giving you a list of players that are available in this window. And when you're looking at the Arsenal team and bench at the moment, some of the players that 2 or 3 weeks ago we were probably saying I wouldn't take him, you're probably looking at them now going, well, he walks into our team. I said 2 weeks ago I'd take Leroy Sané for 25 million. We were quite split in the community. People were saying they'd take him and not. Leroy Sané starts left and right wing for Arsenal at the moment with no Saka. There's no excuse. PSG already has Bacola and Dembele and they're adding Kvara on top of that. I think you meant to say Arsenal used to be a bigger club. I mean, I'd still say we are, but we need to act it. Vance, he's having a go at me here. Respectfully, always bitching, but always buying merchandise. Billionaires only talk money. Hit them in their pockets. You're all full. Do you know what, though, bro? I'm telling you now, leave the stadium empty is bigger than merch. Merch is sold worldwide, bro. Worldwide. And Adidas pay the money up front. You know that, right? Adidas don't say to Arsenal, we'll sponsor you, we'll see how many shirts you sell, and then we'll pay you. Adidas go, we're going to pay you 40 million a season, and then Arsenal sell the shirts. The shirts are sold worldwide. And I know it's an easy excuse for me to say that. If I don't buy the shirt, someone else will buy the shirt. What you can do is leave your seat empty. And I'm telling you now, empty seats got Wenger sacked. And the protests got Wenger sacked. But I hear what you're saying. I appreciate the super chat, you know. I'm open to criticism, people. If it's constructive, I am. I say Kroenke's have to go, and then I get the new training top. I hold my hands up. I get it. But trust me, leave your seat empty. Man United this weekend, 3 o'clock, terrestrial TV, 20,000 empty seats. Let's see. That would make an impact, trust me. At this point, I would take James Rodriguez, said, why always me? Well, it's, the 424 hoodie. I'm sorry, that was a piece of art. That was, you know, red and black with the added, sorry. Honestly, Kroenke's can go, but I'll be wearing that hoodie while I'm saying it. We're aware of our own issues, people. Self-awareness is a very important thing to have. I never came on this show and said, hey, I'm perfect. The merch, especially I love the training kits. You know the kits, if you notice, you don't see me in that many Arsenal kits. But the training kits, and they're clean, and you've got a nice summer holiday. Yeah, yeah. Elliot Roberts, if he's in the chat, he understands. There's more people as well. That merch can wear you down. It can. We're Champions League winners when it comes to merch. It's just as a football team, we're a PR club. But anyway. The club, though, the club need to fix up. They definitely need to fix up. Anyway, let's talk about Arsenal and a few bits and pieces. Don't forget, bit of self-promotion here. The new TikTok channel is back. They deleted me for copyright. even though other people were clipping me up, clipped myself up. TikTok threw me off there, so got a new account now. Same thing, Curtis Shaw TV. Go on there, first video. If you're on TikTok, edited match reactions after every game. So if you are on TikTok, you know, make sure you follow me on there. I had over 5,000 or 6,000 followers, so I'm starting from scratch, people. And we'd only had that account for a little while, but yeah, they nabbed me for copyright, people. So hey, we're back on there. Anyway. Which bit? I'm thinking which story here to even start with. Let's start with Leandro Trossard. Kung Fu Panda. He said, not for me, mate. Not for me. It's interesting because I always say any story we read, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gospel, right? It doesn't mean it's gospel. Graphic designer, hey, anyone. Hit me up, curtisshawtv@hotmail.com. Anyone in the community who can do stuff that will help the channel, hit me up. It doesn't mean it's gospel, but this story coming from transfers.com. Leandro Trossard has rejected Arsenal's recent contract offer. And there were breakdowns in negotiations before Christmas. The Gunners offered him a 1-year extension with an option of an additional year, but it was immediately knocked back by Leandro Trossard. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you. We don't know whether this is true. It may be, it may not. Trossard earns £90,000 a week. And he's contracted until the summer of 2026. So his contract runs out next summer. For me, I would sell him. We've got 2 left wingers. We need a new left winger. One of them's got to go. I suppose in all seriousness, Martinelli has more value than Trossard because of his age and his profile. He's Brazilian, he's in his early 20s, he's very quick. But Trossard is 30. I just look at Trossard and I feel that signing has served its purpose. He cost £27 million. He was a backup signing. We wanted Mudryk. We didn't get Mudryk. This was the backup deal. He's in his 4th season at the club. 5 goals. No, 3rd season at the club, sorry. 1 goal in that first half a season. 12 goals last season. 3 this season. I'd sell him. We turned down €35 million from Al Ittihad in the summer. He's got a year left in the summer, 27 million. That €35 million works out around 27 million that we paid for him. I'd sell him personally. I'm going to put a poll out for this one, to be honest. I think you sign a top quality left winger. You then make Martinelli the squad player. He's got to fight for his place. He's got to step his game up. But I still think Martinelli could be an impact player at least. He might downgrade from a starting left winger that we thought was going to be a superstar to a squad player with a lot of pace that can impact the game off the bench. I would personally move Trossard on, but I'm going to put a poll out. What would you guys do with Trossard? Would you sell him or would you extend his contract? Leandro Trossard. New contract or sell? Me personally, I would sell him, but I want to hear your thoughts. Maybe some of you think, you know what? Squad player wouldn't be too bad. You might sell Martinelli because there's more value in selling Martinelli. And then you leave Trossard as a squad player. I actually don't think Trossard looks happy at the football club anyway. I think Trossard, you know, he did that celebration, you know, what you leaving me on the bench for. Since doing that, has he really proved himself that he should be starting for Arsenal on a regular basis? Technically a fantastic player, versatile, but for me, he's fading at Arsenal. 90 grand a week, new deal. He would want a pay rise. Doesn't have pace really out wide. I would get rid of him. You know, if the Saudi offer came back in, I would cash in. And this is what frustrates me, people. You know, when you look at it, this makes it even worse. Kvara's available right now for £67 million. And we turned down £27 million for Trossard. We could sell Trossard for 27, put on an extra 40 and get Kvara. So effectively 40 million push Trossard gets you Kvara. That's crazy. Crazy. I can't believe that clubs around Europe are allowing Kvara to go to PSG. That is criminal. Absolutely criminal. There are a number of clubs, especially in Europe, that have got left wingers that are not as good as him. How are Premier League clubs watching him go to PSG? Unbelievable. Man United need a left winger. Arsenal need a left winger. There's more clubs. I even think Chelsea. Well, they've got Neto, actually. Man City, for me, I think Kvara starts for Man City. He's better than Grealish and Doku. How the hell is he going to PSG? The French League, come on, man. I can't believe it. Kvara actually plays how I would think Arteta wants his winger to play. I don't get it. How are clubs letting him go to PSG? PSG is washed up. That project didn't work. But there is no point me crying about it. It's Arsenal. I should not be surprised. One thing you should never be surprised about as an Arsenal fan is Arsenal doing transfer business that doesn't make sense to you. We should completely be aware of that. One thing I will say about Trossard is, I mean, in fact, you could say this about every attacking player at the football club outside of Bukayo Saka. Are they all bad players all of a sudden? Because there was one point we all loved Trossard. We was all doing the binoculars celebration. We was all saying, oh, for £27 million, what a bargain. He's clutch. I remember at times saying he's arguably the best finisher at the club. He's a baller. Martinelli at one stage. We was arguing at one stage, boy, Martinelli, Saka, who's the better player? Now we're going, what country's Martinelli from? He doesn't even look Brazilian. Havertz, I'll be real, I was never convinced one bit by that signing, so I'll remove him from the argument. And even Gabriel Jesus, when we first signed him, that first 6 months, he looked a player. So why are attacking players fading under this manager so often? This isn't an individual problem with Trossard. It's not just, Trossard's faded, get rid of him. There's a problem altogether with Arsenal's attack. The only guy that seems to operate under this management is Bukayo Saka. And I think that's because Saka was developed in this academy under a system that is similar to what Arteta is playing. Martinelli came from Brazilian 4th division. I doubt there was much of a system at that level. Trossard's come from Belgium, totally different setup. Been at Brighton, this is the biggest club he's ever played at. You look at Havertz, he's an attacking midfielder playing up front. He's freestyling. This ain't his natural position. You know what I mean? So, and Jesus obviously came through in the Brazilian league. And let's be honest, Jesus was not a massive success at Man City either. So why are so many attacking players struggling to fulfill themselves under this system? There is no doubt that Arteta's system has worked up to a certain point. And then it hits the ceiling and it says, right, we can't do anything more than this. We can't. Why has no player scored 20 league goals in any of Mikel Arteta's full seasons at the football club? The only player that scored 20 goals is Aubameyang, and that was the season he came in halfway through. Why has no individual player scored 20 league goals in the 5 seasons that he's been the manager of this football club? Now, I get it. He shares the goals around, and I hear that argument, but I think there's a time where you say, actually, I need somebody to score 20. If we had a 20-goal striker last year, we'd be champions. I'm convinced. And people will go, yeah, but Havertz, link-up play and this, that, the other. You've seen it. Let's be honest, people. Newcastle didn't play amazing against Arsenal the other night. They weren't incredible. They didn't create 10 chances. They had a few chances. They scored them. We had chances. We missed them. Havertz had the easiest chance of the game. It hit his shoulder. He put it wide. The second question you've got to ask, Kai Havertz's been out with flu, missed the last 2 games. You bring him back and you play him the whole 90 minutes. Why? He just recovered. Let's be honest then. People will go, yeah, but you're on loads of money. You should be able to play with flu or whatever. It doesn't always work like that. You know what it's like, people. You have flu, you go back to work, you go back to football, you go back to the gym. You still don't feel perfect, even though you're over it. The guy wasn't fully fit. So why did he play 90 minutes? He played so bad up front, he pushed him right wing while Sterling was on the bench. The way he forces Havertz on this team is why I always say that Havertz deal is the worst signing that Arteta's ever made. Because he's forced himself into a corner where it's like, I've got to play Havertz when he's fit. Because otherwise, the people upstairs are going, hang on a minute, Havertz 275 a week, 65 million. Why is he on the bench? He's trying desperately to force him. And every few weeks when he scores that tap-in or a decent goal, he'll go, look how good he is. I told you how good he was. Matt said, I'll tell you why. Strikers come with a level of arrogance that this manager doesn't want to deal with. He'll take a punt on an unknown so that he can have leverage over the player. Listen, mate. That's gospel, you know. Honestly, that's church right there. That's church. Let's look at the situation. When Arteta walked into Arsenal, we're having real convos here. When Arteta walked into Arsenal, Aubameyang was the biggest thing at Arsenal. Bigger than the manager, let's be real. He was a hero of the club at the time. He won the FA Cup, top scorer, all of that stuff. I think Arteta would have sat there with Aubameyang and gone, listen, I'll put up with you right now because you're banging goals in. But the second you do something wrong, I'm getting you out because I want people to know I'm the man at this club. Aubameyang slipped up, turns up late, ill-disciplined, whatever, gets him out the door, right? Look at the 2 strikers that he's bought. He's bought Gabriel Jesus, a striker that he knows, who already respects him, and also was in a situation that was... We didn't buy a striker that was on fire and we've dragged him out of Man City. We signed a striker that was like, boy, they sold Aguero and I'm still sitting on the bench. So it's like head down, no confidence. Of course, I'll listen to Mikel. Then you sign Kai Havertz. Again, head down. Chelsea don't want him. We take him. Of course, Havertz going to run through a brick wall for Arteta and going to have a great attitude. This guy won't sign certain characters. And you're spot on. You will never see... And I'm not saying this is the player that I want, but you're never going to see Pogba's, Aubameyangs, Mesut Ozil's. You're not going to see those kind of characters at this football club because the manager doesn't like that character and probably doesn't know how to manage that character. But sometimes they're the characters that win you titles. Van Persie apparently had attitude problems. Alexis Sanchez apparently fell out with loads of players. Thierry Henry apparently, they said, was one of the hardest players to work with. Constantly moaning at players when the standards dropped. They're the guys that win you league titles, people. When you look at it, Aubameyang said it himself, he can't handle big players. And listen, I'm not saying for 1 second that Aubameyang was right in what he was doing. You can't be the captain and turning up late. But what I'm saying is you've got to be willing to manage those characters. Difficult characters, but they're better than a lot of other players. And there's a reason. That's why they've got that attitude. Vance said, never personal, brother, here since 17k. Big up. Come on, man. I know you've been, look, member for 42 months, man. Big up yourself. I'm open to criticism. As long as it's constructive, bro, I'll take it. AMSM, why is it always the players and not the manager? Arteta ruined Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe. Now he's ruined Trossard and Martinelli. Arteta out. I've had enough. I'm with you, bro. TRN said sack him, but Arsenal is still rotten. Losing with respect. We are. We're the sprinter that gets patted on the back. Oh, unlucky. Well done. Next year you'll win it. Doesn't always work like that, does it? Ricky said, Big C, we were playing insane in 22-23. Instead of tweaking, he went polar opposite to become worse than a Jose team. Shows he's weak and a Pep Xerox. You make a couple of great points there. 2 years ago, I thought we were the best team in the Premier League. Even though we didn't win it. And of course, we didn't win it. So City are better than us. But the best team to watch. We were amazing to watch that year. Martinelli's ripping people. Saka, Jesus was cooking. Odegaard's, scoring 25-yarders. We had the whole balance. I've said it so many times. Now, last year he watered it down a little bit. Because I think the way we gave up the 8-point lead, it gave him PTSD. He watered it down a little bit last year. From January to the end of last season, barring those couple of games at the end, Villa and that, he got the formula again. We were cooking. We were scoring goals. We were even more solid defensively. I feel like the biggest mistake Arteta has made, apart from transfers and recruitment, he second-guessed himself. It's almost as if he said, it didn't work, so I've got to change it. When he should have been mentally strong enough to say it didn't work because the personnel were not good enough. You didn't need to change the system. You needed to upgrade in certain areas of the pitch. It's like going gym for one day, going home, looking in the mirror and going, yo, how come my biceps aren't massive? Bro, you've been there one day. You got to go tomorrow and the next day and a week and a week and a week, and then you'll see it. Stick with what you've got. The system's perfect for us. Get a better striker than Havertz. Get a better number 8 than Marino. And we'll win the title this year. But you've gone and changed the system. Now we're playing defensive football. You're playing too defensive. And you don't actually believe in what you've been preaching to us. We all said the whole time, this guy's Pep Part 2. Pep doesn't second guess himself. Pep knows what he wants to do and how he wants to play. That's why they've been on a mad losing streak. Because the guy's so stubborn. Pep's going, yeah, 2 wins out of the last 12, but I'm not going to change how I play. I might change the personnel, but we're still playing from the back. We're still going to pass the ball, tiki-taka. Arteta, and you're right again, Matt, inexperience. Didn't have the patience to sit there and go, you know what? What I'm doing is actually working. I've just got to be patient and get the right players in. Look how many times Klopp went in a title race with Pep. 97 points, lost the title. Imagine the kind of head loss after getting 97 points and not winning a league title. Did Klopp come back the next year and rip the whole thing up and start again? He went, no, go again. We'll get there eventually. Get a better player there. Fabinho in DM. Get another player there. Alisson and Van Dijk, get another one there. Eventually, the success came. This manager didn't have the patience, didn't trust himself. Why? Because he's never managed. So he's thinking, I've got to change it. I have to change it. No, you don't. You've got to buy better players in a few positions. The team is good. Now, you're probably undoing some of the good work that you've done, because now the balance looks off. And players that were playing here 2 seasons ago, they're now playing down there. So now what do? Do we sell Martinelli now because he's playing so bad? Or is he being mismanaged? And imagine if Martinelli goes somewhere else and starts balling out, how bad that looks on Arteta. You've created question marks that you didn't need to be asking. But that's a great super chat, Ricky, honestly. LZA said, the faith you have in Gabriel Martinelli should be studied in Sunday school. Bro, honestly, you've heard me on this channel. I've said many times, dump him in the Amazon rainforest. Joking aside. With Martinelli, I'm neither here nor there. If a club made a high offer for Martinelli and the club sold him, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I'd go, well, 2 seasons he's been poor. I get it. But at the same time, I genuinely think in the right system, you would have a useful player there. I really do. I don't think Arteta is using him correctly. He's playing him like a left midfielder. He's too far back and he's hugging the touchline. I want him making diagonal runs into the penalty area. I want him high up the pitch. I want him 1v1 with the fullback. And I want him in goal-scoring situations. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a frustrating player. And at times, he looks like he's got rice pudding in his brain. But trust me, Martinelli, in my opinion, there is a level of talent there. I don't know if he's good enough, and I've got no problem replacing him. But I'm convinced this manager's dragged him down. I'm sorry. I look at a lot of the attackers. He's done it to pretty much all of them. Look at Pepe's drop-off. Look at Lacazette's drop-off. Look at Aubameyang's drop-off. Trossard, Willian, Martinelli, Jesus. Look at him. Literally, he's moving like Dracula, Arteta, just taking the life out of all our attackers. The only one is Saka, who survives. The rest of them, When Aubameyang left this club, majority of the fan base said, yo, Aubameyang's washed up, man. People were calling me Aubameyang's lawyer. He's washed, man. He's finished. Let it go, man. Let it go. He's done. Man went to Barcelona, scored 13 goals in half a season. You know what I mean? They're not all finished. Vance said, I'm Cross, watching Arsenal 17 years consecutive. Before I had a beard, now I'm getting greys and the hair's thinning, and man are here caressing Arteta like a damn girlfriend. No time for that blood clot. I'm telling you, man, Arsenal's stressful, bro. Arsenal's real stressful. Adash said his ego won't allow him to drop Kai Havertz, means marquee signing failed. Yep. His ego rushed Aubameyang out of the club, then Arsenal missed out on the Champions League. Surely could have waited till the summer. Exactly. Wanted him out quick. Adash, his ego hurt when Pep schooled him on the attacking football, so he decided to go ultra defensive just to make sure he never gets spanked again. I hear that. And Eruption said Havertz signing distorted our course badly. Yeah, I think it's put us back at least 2 years. At least 2 years. Said it before, that was our Liverpool summer when they got Van Dijk and Alisson. We got Declan Rice. That was a hit. And even him, look what we're doing to him. But yeah, we will see, people. We will see. We will obviously preview Man United tomorrow. Couple more stories to talk about. Zinchenko. Oh, always believe in your soul. You've got the power to go. You have got the power to go, mate. To Inter Milan. Italian giants Inter Milan are eyeing a bid for Arsenal fullback Alexander Zinchenko. The belief is that they want him on loan with an option to buy this summer. It also said, when I read the full report, said they like his versatility and the fact he can play in midfield. Oh, he can play in midfield, can he? Funny that. We've never seen him in Arsenal's midfield. Well, I know he inverts there, but, you know. Listen, I always say the same thing when it comes to Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. I'm not going to do revisionism now and say, when we bought them both, I was reasonably happy with both signings, especially the Jesus one. We've outgrown both of them now as a club. I'm not even disrespectful. He was never a left back. He played 1 year there because Mendy was locked up and they won the league. It doesn't mean you're a left back. I think it's time for him to move on. 150 grand a week. Needs to go. He's got a year left in the summer. Get him out. Loan with an option. You've got to turn that into loan with an obligation. I've got to be honest. You need to make sure if he goes there, he's not coming back. Without being disrespectful, we've been in this situation multiple times with Sambi Lokonga and all these players. They get loaned out, they average, and they come back. How many times have Arsenal loaned a player out where he's actually gone there, done really well, and we've sold him for a good fee? Probably Joe Willock. You know, Reece Nelson struggling at Fulham. I doubt they'll sign him. Sambi Lokonga's actually playing at Seville, but whether they'll sign him. So it's got to be loan with obligation. He can't be coming back in the summer. If he goes to Inter and cooks in midfield, bro, the guy starts centre mid for Ukraine. We've had problems in midfield. He's literally going to leave Arsenal. And we're going to say we've never seen him play in his natural position. He starts in the 8 role for Ukraine, and we've never started him there. Baffles me. Absolutely baffles me. I have no problem with him going. Absolutely no problem. But I'd be a little intrigued to go, hang on a minute, you spent 35 million on him. You're paying him 150 grand a week, and you've never played him in his natural position. It's not like our midfield is unbelievable at the moment, by the way. So, yeah, but he's going to go. He's going to go. But as I said, for me, has to be a loan with an obligation. You can't give them an option to buy because if he doesn't do well, he comes back and then we're stuck with him with a year left. Then he might sit there and say, I'll run down my deal and leave the summer after on a free. So, yeah, time for him and Jesus to go, in my opinion. We've outgrown them. And I think Pep got the better of us, really. When you look at it, Pep sold us Zinchenko for 35 million and he bought Nathan Ake for 45 million, who I think is a quality centre-back and left-back. They sold us Gabriel Jesus for 45 million. They bought Erling Haaland for 65 million. I think Pep definitely won when it comes to that one. Zinchenko to Inter. I think everyone in the fan base would say let him go. But yeah, baffles me that we've never actually seen him playing in the left eight. And he is actually quite good on the ball in that role. So I've said it for years, Steve, there's no way this guy's a left back. City were in a situation, Mendy got locked up, the window was closed, Pep needed an internal solution. Left-footed centre mid, I'll put him at fullback. He stayed there the rest of the season, they won the league, we sign him, and we play him at left back. He was never a left back, and he isn't going to be a left back. Simple as that. So, crazy business that we got overexcited and thought this guy was the solution at left back. But anyway, good luck to him. I think we definitely need to get him out the door. That is for sure, people. I'm going to end this poll regarding Leandro Trossardinho. Although I haven't called him Trossardinho for a while. Wow. 89% saying sell him. You're done with him. 11% saying give him a new deal. There we go. The community have had enough when it comes to Leandro Trossard. I'm with you. Fully in agreement with the 89%. Move him on. Get your money back and go and get a better left winger. I think Arsenal have to learn to sell players at the right time. We get all sympathetic and, he's a good squad player. You know, El Neni gets new contracts. Jorginho gets new contracts. Once they're not good enough, get them out. We ain't got time for that. Let me read out these super chats, then we'll move on. Big up, man. 3,400 of you in the chat. Big up your damn selves. Big up the Twitch gang as well. The whole C unit. Do me a favour. Should easily be getting 1,000 likes. Subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously a big weekend for Arsenal. I'm not really going to talk about the Man United game today. We'll preview it properly tomorrow. I mean, if we don't beat Man United this weekend, I fear that it's going to get toxic. I think the energy is shifting. The situation we're in at the moment, it's very unlikely we come back from 2-0 down against Newcastle and beat them. So you would say the Carabao Cup is slipping out of our grasp. I can't see us winning the Champions League. Let's be real. Especially with no Saka. We're not winning the Premier League. Especially when we're not even doing anything substantial in the window. And you've then got the FA Cup. But we're in the first round. We've got a hard game. And we're going to have to probably beat City. And at the moment, it feels like it could be a trophyless season, which is criminal. To have 3 title challenges and not at least pick up a 1 FA Cup, a 1 Carabao Cup or something. For those of you just tuned in, and I touched on this at the start, for me, Tottenham beating Liverpool last night, even though I think Liverpool will beat Tottenham at Anfield, it made our result even worse because you're looking at it going, well, number one, you're looking at the potential of a North London Derby League Cup final, which would have been incredible. Number two, can you imagine if Tottenham win a trophy? When we've been clowning them, 16 years with no trophy. Can you imagine us title challenging, this manager that's been put on this pedestal by a lot of the fan base, and these lot go and win a trophy? And then on top of that, you're going, how are we conceding 2 at home to Newcastle? They're not conceding against Liverpool, who've got the best attack in the Premier League. With no Van der Ven, no Destiny Udogie, and no Romero, with a 21-year-old goalkeeper that signed 3 days ago making his debut. Make it make sense. I sat here last year when we were linked with Solanke, and I said, no Lanky. I don't want that guy anywhere near Arsenal, even though he's a boyhood Arsenal fan. And this is what I spoke about the other day. Arsenal will offer you a meal and you'll go, I don't like that. That's not a dinner that I like. I don't want it. And then they starve you for a few days and you look at that meal and you go, actually, I'll take that tap water and slice of bread. I watched Solanke last night and I'm going, look at the way he's just barged Konate out the way and set up Bergvall for the goal. And I'm going, did I get it wrong? Maybe we should have took Solanke. In reality, I don't want Solanke at Arsenal. I want a world-class striker. But because you're starving me with Gabriel Jesus, injury prone, doesn't score goals apart from a purple patch, and Havertz, who shoulders the ball wide from 3 yards, all of a sudden, the tap water and dry bread, Solanke, looks like a good striker. This is what Arsenal do to us. This is the Truman Show. This is what they do. We're starving out here, people, looking for crumbs off the dinner plate. Solanke, he is better than Havertz. I take him, but I don't want him. Giving me back bread and tap water with all sorts of chlorine in it and whatever they put in the tap water. Fluoride. I'm starving out here. Tap water and dry bread. I don't want it, but now I'm starving. I'll take it. It's looking like a 3-course meal. Gold steak in Dubai. Anyway, people, anyway. Arsenal, man, Arsenal. Why do you do this to us? If it wasn't for Thierry and Wrighty, I might have never gone through this. As I said, my dad, he's a Liverpool fan. Jamaican, so John Barnes, he was putting me in Liverpool tops. I rebelled against the family. Saw Wrighty with gold teeth doing all this at Highbury. And Thierry turned up. Caught me out, man. Now, look, I'm just suffering. We've gone from Thierry to Havertz. What the hell happened? Anyway, young Gunner, this club thrives on PR, and I find it funny that Edu jumped ship. Back to college today, surrounded by Liverpool fans. It's peak. Liverpool, man. Yeah. They're. I think they're going to win trophies this year. Hello, big up to you. Thank you very much for becoming a member on the channel. July said, our criminal owners found another Wenger in Mikel. Gained his loyalty with investment. Now feed him excuses while he shoulders all the fans' criticism. He was perfect for them. That's why Emery got the boot quick. I remember that January when Emery came out in the press conference. He said, I've got no money. I can't buy anyone unless it's a loan. And they're probably sitting there going, don't do that. You're telling him the truth. Sack him. You know what I mean? Listen, revision. People say Emery, you know, he did fail at the club, but the circumstances were very different. He didn't even get the players he wanted. Matt said, uncomfortable question. Should we start shopping around for a creative midfielder for competition? Bro, that question was a question we were asking in the summer, bro. Let's be real. It doesn't matter whether we rate Smith Rowe or rate Fabio. You're letting 2 creative players go. You're leaving yourself with just Odegaard. Everybody sat there in the summer and said, are you going to buy Eze or... Because he's twerking for Arsenal. Boyhood Arsenal fan, released by Arsenal youth team. 60 million release clause. Dominated Declan Rice last season at the Emirates. Like, are we going to buy him? Are we doing anything here? Palace had 2 players in the summer. We should have bought one of them. Eze and Elise. We bought none of them. Why not? Like... I don't understand it. I just don't. When the more obvious something becomes at Arsenal, I'm convinced they go against it. Like, the more we need a striker, I'm more convinced they won't buy one. Like, they'll probably give Jesus a new contract. That disallowed finish from Solanke is a striker's finish. Yeah, very good goal. Very good goal. I just like the way he bullied Canate and, you know, just, yeah, good player. Good player. Hey, Jesus is the answer. Big up yourself, man. Appreciate the donation. A message to the Kroenkes. Want Arsenal to succeed with Arteta? Go and get Vinicius Jr. Right now, not in the summer. Now, do whatever it takes. Instruct Arteta that he must play him. The trophies and records will follow. Vinicius Jr. is Arsenal's Jokic. Now, of course, like I said, when I met Josh Kroenke, I said we need a Jokic. The only thing I would say, and listen, I love that level of ambition. I don't think Vinny Jr., I think he'd put the phone down. Like, I don't even think you would get the phone call to make him the offer. Like, the email would probably end up in the spam. The WhatsApp, you'd be blocked. The picture would go grey and disappear and you'd be on one tick. The phone wouldn't ring. It would go straight to answer phone. I'm not even sure Arsenal would have access to Vinicius Jr. to make an offer. Let alone Vinicius Jr. accept. Can you imagine Vinicius Jr. say, right, yeah, I'm at Real Madrid, mate. Yeah, I won the league and the Champions League last year. Who? Mikel who? Arteta? Who are you? Did you play for Spain? No, I never played for Spain, mate. Who did you play for? Oh, I was at Everton and, Rangers, and then I went to Arsenal for a little bit. Like, did you play international football? Well, basically, mate, even though, I'm born and raised in Spanish, I got nowhere near the Spanish squad, so I tried to play for England, but they wouldn't take me either. Yeah, okay, when I'm 37 and I'm on the verge of retirement, ring me back then. Maybe you can sign me then. Oh, he meant Vinicius Junior. Oh, Vinicius, future child. Yeah, we'll probably sign him. Because remember, we didn't sign Jude Bellingham, but we're trying to sign Joe Bellingham. We didn't sign Luis Suarez, but we signed Denis Suarez. And we didn't sign Pedro Neto, but we got Norbert Neto. So we'll probably get Vinicius, maybe Vinicius Senior. Maybe we'll sign his dad instead. But Vinicius Junior at Arsenal, mate. The only way he sees the Emirates is if we're playing them in the Champions League. I love... listen, the fact that your name is Jesus is the answer. We might need Jesus himself to get Vinicius Junior to Arsenal. We might need a higher power and spirit to make that happen. But on ground level, I don't think you're ever seeing that. But I appreciate the super chat, bro. SG said, now Arsenal fans have opened their eyes on Odegaard. He's a bench player at best, and some fans were saying Odegaard is a generational talent. Tells me football is a cesspool. Odegaard, for me, some players need great teams to succeed, right? Some players can take responsibility in teams that aren't great and get you over a finish line. See, I always used to say with Mesut Ozil, just as an example, because they played similar roles, Ozil needs a great team. With a great team, Ozil's a great player. When he had Ronaldo and Benzema, Ozil looks like a dream because he's playing with elite footballers with amazing IQ, and they're strong and they're successful. They score goals. He's an amazing creative player. You put him into a team with Giroud up front and Walcott on the wing and Coquelin in defensive midfield and Bellerin. He falls down to their level because Ozil is not a carry your team on your shoulders kind of player. That kind of player is Alexis Sanchez, he's Robin Van Persie, he's Cesc Fabregas, he's Aubameyang. They're mavericks. Give me the ball, I'll make something happen, even though you guys can't because I'm better than you. Different players. I think if you put Odegaard in the Man City team right now, I think he'd look brilliant. I honestly do. Because you've got people doing his dirty work. You've got clever players. He doesn't have to defend as much. He's got an amazing movement in front of him. At Arsenal, we need him to take more responsibility. You're the captain. We're not an elite football team. We haven't won trophies. I'm not sure Odegaard can take the responsibility that we need him to take. How often does Odegaard win us a big game? How often does he come up clutch when we're struggling? When we're struggling, he seems to sink with the rest of the team. And for me, you're going to be Arsenal captain. If I'm Nwaneri or I'm Lewis Skelly and I'm a teenager and I'm just in the first team, I'm looking at you for inspiration, bro. We're 2-0 down to Newcastle and I'm looking at you going, you're gonna do something here, bro. I don't want to see you shooting snot out your nose and telling the fans, come on, make more noise. I want you to shoot from 25 yards, put it in the top corner. Play a through ball to Havertz, and then he misses, and then we blame the football. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? So, he's a very talented player. There's no doubt Odegaard is a very talented player. Is he clutch? Fabregas, how many times did he come up clutch? Alexis, Aubameyang, Van Persie. I don't know if he's got that about him yet. But, again, as I say all the time, do we have to look at the manager? Another player that 2 years ago looked outstanding now looks like he can't shoot. I don't know. White Glove said, how are we so broke? See, when is the OG's pod Monday? The emergency OGs, as I said, Turkish had some stuff he had to sort out with his family, a little emergency. He's fine now from what I know. So we had to cancel the show. But we're back Monday after the United game, people, on Sunday. So we'll be back for that. I don't think we are broke personally. I just think they had to balance the books. The club has been losing money. That's what happens when you're in the Europa League for 5 years and then we missed out on Europe 1 year. you do have to balance the books at some point. I think we have to realise that this club has not operated properly as a selling club for a long time. Last summer, the one thing I can applaud the club for is we sold players at decent value, getting 30 million for Nketiah or 34 million for Smith Rowe, 20 million for Ramsdale. They were all decent bits of business, especially when you look at what they're doing this season. None of them are really pulling up trees. ESR started well. But then you look over the years, Aubameyang left for free, Ozil left for free, Mkhitaryan left for free, Ramsey left for free, Socrates, Mustafi, Kolasinac. And some of these guys are poor players, but you look at Kolasinac, he won the Europa League playing for Atalanta. You're meant to get 5, 6, 7 million for him. You're meant to get 12, 15 million for Aubameyang. We should have got 40 million for Aaron Ramsey at the stage he was at of his career, but we were stupid with transfers. So they are going to pay the price now for that. So that's where we're at. And obviously, the club are feeding on this with the old hang on till the summer. We're going to go mad in the summer. As I said, with Arsenal people, it's like watching the same film over and over again and expecting something different to happen. Now, not last year, we're in 2025. 2023 summer, the club did surprise me a little bit. We didn't get Caicedo. We all felt let down. They got Declan Rice for 105 million. However, we need a striker right now. That's the problem. We needed a striker last summer. And people were... I was arguing with Robbie in America on tour when Robbie said Havertz can score 20 goals this year. And people even within the club... When I was on tour, I was talking to people who work for the club. We were around the team quite a lot. Had media access. And I'm having conversations with people who work for the club and they're going, what do you think we need? I said, we're desperate for a striker. And they said, but Havertz just scored 13 goals. And I said, yeah, he hit a purple patch. He's not going to do that over the course of a season. He's never done it. And Arsenal put all their eggs in that basket. That Havertz was going to continue that purple patch for a whole season. Now he hasn't. Everybody now is going, Arsenal need a striker. And I'm going, you're 6 months too late, bro. We needed a striker in the middle of summer. You're now saying we need a striker in January. January is a harder window because we're going to say PSR and all of that stuff and clubs don't want to sell. When in the summer there were multiple strikers available. There's actually still multiple strikers now. And in fact, you're right, White Glove. It's actually 18 months too late because the summer we signed Havertz, we should have signed a striker with that 65 million. And you're spot on there as well, Saliba. Bro, this fan base only calls out when it's fashionable. Honestly, that is the absolute... community, you've been nailing it today with the comments. Honestly, you've nailed it. They will only say it when it's safe to say it, people. When it's safe, they'll go, actually, I'm thinking what you were thinking, but I won't say it until I can say it on Twitter without getting abuse for saying it. That is actually the reality of the situation. So when I say things on Twitter like, why are we painting Josh Kroenke, Win the Dog, Kai Havertz, Nicolas Jova, the set-piece coach? Why are we painting them outside of the stadium? Paint legends, paint icons, paint trophy winners even. What are we painting Josh Kroenke for? Why are we painting Nicolas Jova, a set-piece coach who helped us score a few corners? Painting him outside the ground. If we won the title, paint him. Do whatever you want. Put a statue up. Who cares? We ain't won nothing with this. What are we doing? Painting people like they're icons of the football club. When I tweet that, oh, what are you moaning for? It's only a painting. 6 months ago, we need a striker. That window was appalling. Mourinho won the Euros. Calafiori was quality for Italy. Sterling's won multiple titles. 4 out of 10 window, mid. We need a striker. We need a striker. You should see... One day, I'm going to do a show on here, right? I'm going to show you my responses on Twitter. I know it's called X. I'm old school. I'm still calling it... I'm going to show you the stuff that people say. I'm going to show you. That's why I say I just do a Bruce Willis. I just let off the clip. and just walk away and leave the fire in the background like a movie. You should see. Now, we need a striker. We're desperate for a striker. Funny that in the summer you didn't think so. Now we're desperate. Everybody says it. But guess what? They ain't going to do it. They're going to wait until the summer. By then, guess what will happen? Season will fizzle out. We won't win nothing. And then we're back to square one. But, yeah, you're right. It's a fashion parade. Do it when it's fashionable. Vegas Gunner said, Stan is probably waiting till after the home playoff game versus the Vikings Monday. Then he might let Arteta have some pocket change to loan a player. Yeah, I hear you on that. And Ricky said, things are bad, and at this time, if the team doesn't arrest the tide and win against United, it proves nothing has changed in our bottling mentality. I mean, look at big up Ricky, man. As things stand, Arsenal are likely to revive their interest in Alexander Isak at the end of the season. There was an interest in Isak last summer, but it quickly emerged that persuading Newcastle to part with the player would cost upwards of 100 million. The same that he would cost next summer, or this summer coming, by the way. Sources insist that following a relatively economical summer window, which means you didn't really spend anything in terms of net spend, Arsenal are not opposed to reaching those financial levels again, having signed Declan Rice 18 months ago, though it is likely they would need to be creative in the market to land their second 100 million player, which means we've got to sell players to buy. Fair enough, sell some of them. There's players there that you can sell. Sell Zinchenko, sell Jesus, sell Trossard, sell Kivior, sell Tierney if you don't want him. You know, you can easily make 100 million if you're smart. But we're now going to go for a player that we should have signed last summer. Conrad said, so much French talent in all leagues for decent prices. Arteta hasn't bought a French player yet. Saliba is already here, no links ever. Has he never bought a French player? Must have something against French. Maybe when he left PSG, man, it wasn't. It didn't go well for him. This is when you have to put things in perspective, people. Let's put things into perspective. Let's talk about ambition and drive and things like that. I said at the start of this show, Kvara is on the verge of going to PSG. Kavica Kvaratskhelia, but I just call him Kvara. £67 million, 23 years of age, would be ideal for Arsenal on the left wing. We're going to sit there, not sign him, let him go to PSG. We'll then try and get Nico Williams in the summer. Everybody can see Nico Williams wants to go Barcelona. If they can sort their money out, he'll end up at Barcelona and we'll be sitting there empty-handed and we'll get someone else. This is what Arsenal have been doing for years. Rather than dealing with what's in front of us and what's available, we end up going for someone else who isn't half as good. Manchester City have the best goal scorer in world football. He might not be the best striker overall game, but he is the best goal scorer on the planet. Erling Haaland. He's the best. Man City are sitting here and they're going, let's go and get Mamouche for 50 million. One of the most informed strikers in Europe. I don't know how good he is. I've said that openly. I've watched Mamouche play probably 3 times. So I'm not going to sit here and do what some people do. Oh, I've watched him loads of times. He's brilliant. No. I've watched him a few times. He looks good. And I've watched the YouTube goals. So I'm not going to stick my neck on the line and say, oh, Mamouche is brilliant. Some of you guys probably watched him more than me. But they've got Haaland. And they're going to drop 50 million on one of the most informed strikers in Europe, who's going to come in and basically just be a backup striker to Erling Haaland. We've got Havertz, who's an attacking midfielder, who failed to replace Xhaka, and we've stuck him up front. And we've got Jesus, who we can clearly see is not a natural striker. Or not a natural goal scorer anymore. And we're sitting here going, we'll see what's about in June, July. And I'm with you, TV1 here. We do not have a divine right to win. We have a divine right to expect our club to do everything. Honestly, today, the community, you've nailed it with these comments. This is church today, people. Call me Pastor Shaw today. But then you're preaching to me. You've nailed it. I'm never going to sit on this channel and say, Arsenal have to win the league. They have to win the Champions League. They have to. I want them to. There's no divine right. Liverpool are probably a better team than us. Let's be real. Compare Liverpool's team to Arsenal's. I think Liverpool's is better. Compare City's to Arsenal's, I think City's is better. So on paper, we've got no divine right to say we should be champions. But if you don't see your owner do everything he should do to win, you've got every right to complain and moan and say, hang on a minute, you knew we needed a striker. You were willing to pay 55 million for Benjamin Sesko. When you didn't get that deal done, how comes you didn't go for somebody else? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Arsenal wanted a striker in the summer, but they only wanted a backup striker. They didn't want to bring in a striker that was better than Havertz, that was going to bench Havertz, because they love Havertz. They're obsessed with him. They wanted Benjamin Sesko, who was 20 at the time, very tall. Arteta, you've seen it, when we're struggling in games, what do? We whip about 30 crosses in. Sesko's 6'5". They were thinking he's 20, he's not on big wages, he'll come, he don't mind being rotated for Havertz. Sesko said, I'm 20, I might as well stay at Leipzig and play every week. So when they couldn't get Sesko, they went, that'll do, we'll leave it another year for a striker. Why didn't you put that 55 million? Drop 10 more million on top of it and buy Osimhen, who was available for 65 mil at the end of the window. No, they didn't want a better striker than Havertz, because Havertz has to be in this team, because Arteta spent 65 million on him and made him the highest paid player at the club. So he's going to keep forcing him onto the fan base. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. Kvara's on his way to PSG, of all clubs. Frankie said, what happened to OGs? Yeah, bro, as I said, man, Turkish had an emergency with his family, so we had to cancel the show. Everything's fine. But we're going to be back on Monday. Final story. I actually nearly forgot about this. Edu. Now, I have to say, by the way, Duncan Castles is a sensationalist journalist. He seems to put out big headlines, and I wouldn't take what he says as gospel at all. But sometimes he does get it right. Every now and then, even a broken clock's right twice a day, right? Duncan Castle says, Mikel Arteta went into this season in his strongest position of power at Arsenal, having been handed a new 3-year contract in September. That contract, I'm told, was one of the key reasons why Edu resigned as sporting director. He wasn't happy with Arteta's increasing authority at the club. Now, we don't know, so I'm not going to say yes, this, that, the other. I'm just going to go off the story and what potentially might be true. It would make sense for that to be the case. The Athletic printed a story the day after we lost to Bayern Munich saying Arteta is becoming a mini Wenger. He's running pretty much everything at Arsenal. They've now said the next sporting director, Arteta's going to have a say in that appointment. The two favourites for the job at the moment are the Sociedad sporting director, the guy that signed Mikel Arteta in 2002. So Arteta's known the guy over 20 years. And the other guy is Thomas Rosicky, former Arsenal teammate of Mikel Arteta. Jobs for the boys, keep it all in-house. People who are going to be happy to have a job so they're not going to question him in the job. Same thing as the players. Rather than an Aubameyang with an ego, you're going to sign a Havertz who's happy to be here, who's never going to question you. Now, maybe Edu was a little bit against Arteta. They were never teammates at Arsenal. So maybe he wasn't getting the players he wanted, so he walked and went to Forest, tripled his wages. It would make sense. Arteta is running the show at Arsenal from top to bottom. This is mini Wenger part 2. Sign the players you want, get the coaches you want, get the sporting director you want. Steve Round, the most experienced coach that was at Arsenal, he got sacked because he disagreed with Arteta about the goalkeepers. Edu looks like he fell out with Arteta over transfers. Apparently Edu never wanted Mikel Merino. And players who've fallen out with him, they've been shown the door. He's running the whole operation. This is why I've said his job is nowhere near in jeopardy. Nowhere near. But if you're going to run the whole show, make sure you bring success. is what I will say. So at the moment, we're not seeing it in terms of trophies. Big C, if you were a striker, if I'm Isak, I'm going to Chelsea to play with Palmer instead of going to Arsenal to focus on defensive work. I mean, before I round up, we said this the other day. Take away the fact that you're an Arsenal fan. If you're Isak, are you desperate to go to Arsenal? Because they're not stupid. You're putting your career in that manager's hands. If I'm Isak, I'm looking at Arteta going, well, Aubameyang got worse and got put to the left and then got binned. Lacazette did nothing playing through the middle. Jesus did nothing after the first 6 months. Havertz does nothing, runs all around the pitch. Where's the evidence to say as a striker, I think I can operate in a Mikel Arteta system and be successful? Look at the freedom he played with the other night in that Newcastle shirt. He went wherever he wanted, had no pressure, looked like he was running the show. Players are not stupid, they see these things. I would be apprehensive if I was him. I'd say, well, that attack doesn't look like it's operating properly. I genuinely think this summer there'll be a few big clubs that will look at him. There's rumours of Darwin Núñez being sold from Liverpool. Jota's injury prone. I think Liverpool will need a striker. Chelsea need a striker. Jackson's not good enough. Man United need a striker. Xerxes and Højlund aren't good enough. Lewandowski's 36. Barcelona will need a striker. Arsenal need a striker. There's no guarantees we get Isak in the summer. I hope we do. I hope we get him now. But of course, we're not going to. So I think sometimes you're better off making sure go and get Osimhen for 65 mil. Unless you're certain you're getting Isak. But there's no certainties in football. Southern Gooner said, go back and look at Arteta's antics on the documentary. It'll all make sense. The man is on a power trip. We're on a highway to hell. Bro, I can already feel the fire, bro. It's already hurting watching this. And Red Dust said, he coached the team to play the same way he was as a player. Wow. Wow. And you know what? That makes so much sense. Sideways, backways, safe. I actually really didn't like Arteta as a player at Arsenal. Intelligent, hard-working, but safe and limited. Maybe he doesn't know what he needs because he never had it in him. You can't control talent. Do you know what? You guys today have nailed it. The team actually does feel a bit like a reflection of Arteta, the player. We had Fabregas, who was a risk taker. Tried to break you down, tried to score winning goals, had crazy personality. We replaced him with Arteta, who was very safe. It was sideways, pass, 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 never really going anywhere. Nailed it. Community today, absolutely on fire today. C-Unit business, no community anywhere else. Tomorrow we're back 2 p.m. I know I was at 2:30 today. I was running late, my bad. 2 o'clock tomorrow, press conference reaction. I mean, I'm almost dreading listening to what that guy's got to say now, to be honest. But we'll do it. Man United this weekend, huge game. You lose this, it's game, set and match. United fans will absolutely destroy us. Social media derby. Probably the trophy we've got the best chance of winning now. So they have to win. North London derby next Wednesday as well. And then Aston Villa next weekend. Games coming thick and fast. People, thank you very much for tuning in. Great stream. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be back at 2 p.m. tomorrow. We'll preview the Man United game. And we'll see what's going on with the injury news. Take care, everyone. And I'll see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.